Hello. Today is Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. Here is your daily signal. According to Fortune, the UK has implemented a sweeping ban on social media for minors under the age of 16, a move that experts believe will set off a global chain reaction in online policy. On June 21, 2026, the legislation took effect with the goal of tackling mounting concerns over youth mental health, digital safety, and privacy, especially on platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Snapchat. Officials point to a growing body of evidence that excessive social media use among young people has negative educational and psychological consequences. The UK government, working alongside health and education ministries, was instrumental in enacting the ban. Social media companies including TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and Zigazoo are directly impacted. In an interview published by Fortune, Zach Ringelstein, founder of Zigazoo, predicted the ban would soon spread to the United States, viewing it as a global domino likely to influence digital reforms in other countries. Zigazoo itself is positioning as a safe TikTok alternative for minors, hoping to meet the increasing demand for verified child-friendly platforms. In the near term, major social media companies face declining engagement and revenue from UK users under 16, while medium-term consequences might include a surge in demand for platforms like Zigazoo and intensified political debate in the US. The ban could also drive tech giants to innovate in child safety verification and parental controls, potentially leading to stricter global standards. Next, onto the challenges facing U.S. agriculture. Fortune reports that rural America's farms face a looming crisis, as AccuWeather warns that the rare Super El Niño currency sign O event expected in late 2026 may trigger a multi-year drought across the Midwest and Great Plains. The combination of historic El Niño currency sign O patterns and an ongoing economic crisis has put rural communities, particularly those in states like Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas, at heightened risk from climate shocks. Government agencies such as the USDA and NOAA are watching closely, and agribusiness companies like John Deere and Cargill face major financial exposure to crop yield volatility. On June 21, 2026, AccuWeather forecast conditions for a multi-year drought threatening both crop yields and water supply. If projections hold, corn and soybean yields may begin to fall sharply starting mid-2026, and rural towns could struggle with water shortages and layoffs in the farm sector through 2027. The scenario has the potential to catalyze a mini Dust Bowl, disrupting local economies and commodity prices, while federal disaster aid requests are expected to rise if the drought persists. Next, we turn to the evolving role of drone technology in modern warfare. Next Big Future highlights how drone technology is reshaping conflict zones, creating new layers of defense that make large-scale land capture both costly and nearly impossible for near-peer adversaries. Since the early 2020s, both short and long-range drones have enabled defensive drone walls, effectively reinventing trench attrition warfare. Major offensives now frequently stall, resulting only in incremental territorial gains rather than sweeping advances. Military forces such as the Ukrainian and Russian armies rely heavily on drone fleets for surveillance and attack, while manufacturers like Baykar, Jai, and Northrop Grumman supply these technologies globally. Institutions including NATO and the U.S. Department of Defense are ramping up investments in anti-drone systems and layered defenses, with analysts like Brian Wang documenting the strategic shifts. As of June 21, 2026, new drone walls were deployed, and battlefield assessments confirm that drone layering is making land capture an arduous process. In the near term, conflict stalemates and attrition will dominate, minimizing the feasibility of large, swift offensives. Looking ahead, nations are expected to increase their spending on electronic countermeasures and autonomous swarming tactics, which may prolong conflict duration while introducing risks for civilians near front lines. Traditional armored units and infantry are already adapting their tactics to counter drone threats, potentially reducing casualties but changing the pace and nature of modern warfare. Now, onto the markets. Semiconductor stocks surged, with stocks advancing over 2% and Intel gaining more than 5%, while Marvell showed strong momentum as well as one of today's notable gainers. Healthcare edged higher. Roman 45 rose steadily with modest moves among major components. Finance stocks posted a slight gain. XLF saw a slight increase and big banks provided stability. Real estate stocks moved slightly up, with Office Properties Income Trust OPI jumping by 16% as the top gainer and Wheeler Real Estate Investment Trust WHLR falling by over 35% as the day's top loser. The SP 500 closed slightly lower. SPY declined marginally with Nvidia and Microsoft both retreating. In commodities, gold slid 0.7% as GLD dropped alongside broad weakness in silver and platinum. US oil fell almost 2% and fuel tech FTech rallied nearly 39%. Among favorites, Intel climbed sharply as one of the session's strongest performers, while Amazon and Apple edged lower. International markets were mixed. Taiwan rose about 1.4%, Japan up nearly 0.7%, but China large caps showed a slight decline with BABA among the leaders on the downside. Notably, Apogee Therapeutics UPJ soared 46% to lead the day's gainers, while Origin Materials ORNWA dropped nearly 67% for the steepest fall. That's it for today. You can find more news and details on our website. Goodbye.